Thank you so much for inviting us. So my name is Petr Švec, and I'm Channel Development Manager here in Safetica, and I'll be delivering this presentation together with Adam Večerek, who's our technical consultant. Without further ado, let me start. So in the first part, I'll just wanted to share a few facts about Safetica for those that maybe don't know us at all or don't know us much. And we're a company that is from Czech Republic. As a DLP vendor, we always focused a lot on some technology alliances with different vendors. So I believe all of you know ESET. With them, we have this cooperation on a global scale where they're kind of distributing us in certain countries. Other main technology alliance we closed was with Fortinet, with whom it's more about the integration of our products rather than some joint sales activities. We've been lucky enough to be part of the Radicati 2019 DLP Magic Quadrant, which is kind of the same logic as Gartner used to do with DLP quadrants, although Gartner specifically, they decided to stop in 2015. Our company, it's focused on the DLP for 9 years now, since 2011, and I'm happy to say that in that time, we've managed to protect over 250,000 of devices, and we have customers in over 120 countries. Regarding our mission and vision, it was nicely summarized by Sharif Abbas, who's one of our customers from Dubai. But our mission, it always was to primarily help companies to protect themselves against data leaks and certain internal threats. Because as a DLP vendor, this is our daily bread. This is what we focus on, and our vision, it's kind of simple, really, because when our company began, there were a lot of DLP vendors that had excellent products, but they mainly focused on the biggest enterprise companies. And from the beginning, our vision was that it doesn't really matter how big your company is. It doesn't really matter where you're from or how many resources you have to take care of it. But we believe that every single company deserves to have a certain quality of data protection in place, which is what we've been pushing in the last years. Thanks to that, I'm happy to say that we have customers and references from virtually any segment that you can think of. So not only do we have a lot of manufacturers, we have customers from the government, education, healthcare, but also certain services companies, some legal entities. And the whole point is that every single company has sensitive data. So we're here to help with that. And here on this map, you can see all of the countries that we are in so far. We're quite honest about it. As you can see, for instance, Alaska is still gray, even though it's kind of technically United States. But even with the help of our partners in Latvia, we're managing to fill all of these spots quite nicely. And here, I just wanted to share some pictures, where, as I said, we're very honored to be here. It's great that at least we have the option of doing it virtually. So thanks to everyone for logging in. And personally, I'm the gentleman on top left, the chubby one on the left, and then Adam Večerek is on the other side of the screen, and he's the second gentleman from the left on the Dubai conference. So I'm not sure if we're going to have a picture from this one. If the organizers can do it, that'll be great, and I'll update it for the future. But so far, this is it from the past. And now let's talk more about the solution that we actually have and how it can help different customers, how different partners work with it, etc. So what's important to realize is that with data security, the DLP solutions, they really focus primarily on what happens inside. And those are usually two things. So either you have some struggle with intellectual property, which, let's face it, there are companies that, as you can see on the quote below, in case that you lose your company database of your customers, for instance, and it has all the sensitive data about contacts for your customers, how much are they paying, when will their contracts renew, it's pretty easy to just go bankrupt out of this one mistake that can happen because of negligence of just one employee. And the second main part that we help is to help companies comply with different regulatory compliance. And in the past, we have helped companies with, for instance, the GDPR, with HIPAA for healthcare, PCI DSS for customers from the finance. And really, the point of Safetica is to help mitigate not only all the risks, but as the second point, also be sure that you're complying with everything that you should be in compliance with. So when it comes to the actual integration or implementation into customers' environment, personally, I believe that there are top 5 ways of what we're doing to achieve really good experience for the customer that not only guarantees that the project will be deployed in a rightful manner, but that the customer will be interested in the product long term and that it will in fact have benefits in the long run as well. And the first point I have here is that it's really important to focus on the specific customer's use case, because I was describing the different types of customers that we have from all of the different segments, and I can assure you that there truly isn't just one type of customer. Like you can have 2 companies that are both doing manufacturing, but then their environments might be different, right? Or they can have a different size, or they can have different internal IT logic with the amount of different branches that you need to support. So when we're approaching the projects, we're always trying to find out what is the specific use case and basically learn as much as possible about what the customer really needs. Then it comes to like properly testing the right scenarios, because DLP, it's not as an antivirus that you can easily deploy, which I would be able to do, but with DLP, it's really about just seeing what the customers need to have in place and then test it step by step to make sure that everything is in place, everything works, and in case that there's something that might not work as easily, then we will see it and we'll work on that in order to mitigate anything that might risk the project success. It's also about checking the environment of the customer, and what Adam will describe later is that, and I have a few slides as well to comment on it, is that customers' environment, as I said, are different. They have different applications, different hardware, etc. And before starting with even a POC, it is important to just go through everything, to check the right things, and to be sure that what we're going to deploy is going to be deployed on the right set environment. What's also very important is to test the performance of the solution, because, and this is not just about the server part, but especially with endpoint DLP, such as Safetica or any other, about how it handles the endpoints, whether they're physical or virtual. Because you have basically 2 main types of DLPs. One would be network, the other is endpoint. And a main argument against endpoint DLPs used to be that it might take too much resources from the endpoint, so that it doesn't really function properly. And I'm happy to say that in the 9 years that we're developing Safetica, we've been able to fine-tune this in a way that even on older laptops in certain companies, it's running smoothly without any issues. But still, we're being honest with customers and let them know that they should really focus on this part as well. And finally, it's super crucial to communicate with all relevant departments, because with a DLP, it's an application that considers everyone in the company. It's not just about the IT department. It's also about discussing, use cases with security department, but finally to kind of prepare the whole company for what DLP really means, because fundamentally it just brings different way of working with files in your company. And what we really try hard to deliver properly is the fact that the DLP will not put the flow of the company processes at risk, and this is something that I believe Adam will comment on his slides. So with that, Adam, I believe that if you want, you can start here. If audio is working properly.
Yes. Yes, definitely. Hello, everyone. My name is Adam. As Peter said, I work as a technical consultant in Safetica. So, DLP, let's start with what data loss prevention, but also data loss protection. And it's really important to understand both of these definitions so you can understand how Safetica works. We not only can classify the sensitive data and restrict them from leaving the company, we can also help with the actual prevention, with the user
Adam?
So we can improve how they are thinking about the data security.
Adam. Sorry.
Most of these, yes, please.
Yeah, could you maybe turn off your video because your internet connection is not so good, and
Yes.
we are not hearing you very well.
Yes.
Maybe
okay. Apologies for that. I have some difficulties with the internet today. Hopefully it's fine.
Yeah, now it's better. Thank you.
Okay. So Safetica also protects employees against their own mistakes, because most of these data leaks are actually happening as a mistake. They are not intentional data thefts, but they happen because someone is sending an email where they shouldn't be. And this is what Safetica can help with as well. Obviously, the DLP in general reduces risk of reputation losses from small businesses to enterprises. We help to meet the GDPR and other regulatory requirements. The Safetica has benefits over other DLP solution is its universality and really the easy to use solution, easy to implement, easy to install. We can go to the next slide. Thank you. Let's talk a bit about the sensitive data. Every company has sensitive data. Every company has examples of those: customer databases, intellectual property, and many, many more. Whoever the customers find or decide as their know-how, as their sensitive data, we can classify with Safetica DLP and we can protect. As you see on the right side of this slide, we have a diagram. Our logic behind the Safetica endpoint DLP is we thought about all the possible ways how the data can leave the endpoint. It can be via the email, internet, removable storages, media, obviously the cloud, social media, and also Office 365. That I'll be dedicated a few slides in just a minute to tell you how Safetica integrates with the Office 365. We thought about all the possible data channels that can be used to get the data out of the company, and we can protect them thanks to our DLP policies. As I mentioned, causes of data leaks are human errors, but also the problems in processes and disgruntled employees. Okay. Safetica can help you to secure your company data in 3 easy steps. First one is audit, second one is education, and third one is protection. This is something that may not be really easy to understand from the first point of view, because Safetica is an endpoint DLP solution. However, we also have a strong auditing features, thanks to which we can see what is happening on the endpoints. We can see what applications the users are using, which websites they are using, how they are manipulating with files. Thanks to this audit part, we create a notification system. We can notify the users if they are mismanipulating with the sensitive files. We can also create some reports and alerts to be triggered. And of course, the third step.
Adam?
Yes, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we lost you for a few seconds.
I'm very sorry about that. My internet has a bit of a problems. Peter, can you please switch to the next slide? All right. Now on this diagram, you can see how the architecture of Safetica works actually. It works in a simple server-client model. There are some server components, and there are the components that are installed directly on the workstations. Let's start with the server components. Safetica server, obviously, this is the main component, which is connected to the Safetica management console, where all the settings are being done from. And we need some place where all the logs and the records will be stored. For that, we are using an MS SQL database. It can either be the Express edition that is limited by 10 gigabytes of free space, and it's free from Microsoft. We included this one in the installation package of Safetica. This one is completely fine to support the customers to up to 300 endpoints with the proper backup mechanism scheduled. And if you have more endpoints than that, you can utilize either the SQL standard edition, or you can also choose to use Azure SQL, which is a service from the Microsoft. The advantage of using the Azure SQL is that you can exactly fit this these specifications to your company needs. You can choose your performance and choose the storage. The Safetica server itself can be installed both on-premise or in the cloud. It can be hosted on the physical Windows server. It can be hosted on a virtual machine, on Amazon, on Azure. So there are no limitations for the server hosting. The only presumption is that the server has a connection to the endpoints. These endpoints, workstations, have two components installed: Safetica agent and the Safetica client. These two components are monitoring what's happening on the computers and are enforcing all the data, and are also gathering the logs. The big advantage of the endpoint DLP, if you compare it to the network DLP, is that even if the computer, if the workstation, the endpoint, doesn't have a direct connection to the server, still all the features of the Safetica are running. Still all the data are being protected, and everything is being monitored. Based on the latest settings the computer received from the server. Once the connection to the server is re-established, the computer becomes online or is connected to the VPN on the internal network. Then all the records are sent from the endpoint through the server and stored into the database. On the very right side, you can see these data channels that I described previously. You can see the emails, the clouds, the USB devices, printers, etc. And you can see how an example of different ways how to protect those. You can silently monitor what's happening. We can alert the user and notify him that he's performing a dangerous operation. We can alert the administrator as well, or we can simply block the movement of such sensitive data, of the most sensitive ones. So Safetica is an endpoint DLP, but we are also affecting the cloud thanks to our service integrations. So we can proceed to the next slide and talk a bit about those. So first of all, let's talk about Microsoft 365 or Office 365. This is a huge thing. Most of the companies are using this now. I believe that even in your region, this is a hot topic. How the Safetica can integrate with the Office 365. First of all, we are a Microsoft Gold partner, so we are closely cooperating with this. Our product is mainly designed for the Windows operation system. So to have an integration with the Office 365 was a high priority for us. And we are proud to present that we already have a huge integration in place. The advantages are that you have a complete overview of the data flow and data protection, both on the cloud and the endpoints. All configuration changes are synced automatically, and one policy that is configured in the Safetica and is protecting the endpoint can also be easily transferred to the Office 365 and work as a double protection in the cloud as well. Safetica has its own classification system, so thanks to our classification tools, you can classify the documents based on their content or based on their location, for example. However, we also can integrate our classification to the third-party systems thanks to the metadata, and vice versa. So, for example, if you have a data classified using the metadata by Microsoft Azure Information Protection, for example, you can easily transfer this classification into a Safetica. And another option, another way around works as well. Safetica can classify the sensitive data on the endpoints with the metadata, and then this classification can be used by the Office 365 or Fortinet as well. I will talk a bit about Fortinet next. So if we can switch to another slide. Just a bit more about the integration itself. We have an Aip integration. Safetica DLP is using the Aip's third-party classification. So basically the data that are downloaded from the Microsoft 365, from the SharePoint, from the OneDrive are automatically detected and protected. There is no need for additional configuration, which is a huge plus. There is only a need to enable this integration, and then everything works fine. Apart from the classification being done from the Microsoft 365, we are also compatible with the other solutions that are focusing on the classification of data, such as Bolden James, Checkpoint, or Varonis. All right, now let's talk a bit about the newest features that we introduced for the Safetica and Microsoft 365 integration. First one is we are able to have a security audit in cloud. So thanks to our integration with the Microsoft 365, you can see in the Safetica not just what's happening on the endpoints, but also how the data are being handled on the SharePoint and OneDrive business. So you can see the data flow in there as well. And you can also see the audit of the Microsoft Exchange Online. So you can see the emails as well. Now, what we introduced, and is the first step to our protection integration to the cloud environment of Microsoft 365, is that we can easily transfer the DLP policies that are protecting sending of files via files via email and transfer them to the Exchange Online. Same DLP policies are synced from the endpoint to the cloud, and one policy means double the protection. Can we move on, Peter, please? All right, and lastly, let's talk a bit about the Fortinet, because as Peter mentioned, we're also in an integration with the Fortinet. It is a technology alliance, so we are well integrated with different Fortinet products. First one is being the FortiGate, which behaves as a network DLP. What we can offer is the management of data security for all systems. The SSL inspection that is happening by the FortiGate to verifying the trustworthy of the specific website can be adopted by the Safetica. And the data classification is synchronized with the FortiGate. This is something that I already mentioned. The FortiMail is a solution of the Fortinet that is protecting the emails, and Safetica can mark the sensitive emails which can be controlled by FortiMail on workstations where Safetica client is not present. Lastly, Safetica is also compatible of sending these alerts into SIEM systems. FortiSIEM is not the exception, so the incidents that are recognized by Safetica are sent to the FortiSIEM, and they can be both in the context of the data security or user behavior. All right, I believe this is pretty much it from my side. Peter, if you want to take over.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just not sure. Am I visible and audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So to answer the question, why is Safetica the right choice? You know, first of all, as I was describing in the beginning, for 9 years, we have been focused primarily on the DLP. And unlike other certain vendors, you know, we don't have parts that would consider some protection from viruses, that would be focused on, you know, firewalls, etc. And because of that, you know, the customer really don't have any vendor lock-in, let's say, because all we do is to have a DLP that just focuses on the DLP part, and combined with that, with integration with you know, as much vendors as possible, because as I was describing in the beginning, there are a huge variety to the environments of different customers. I'm happy also to say that we have low requirements, and for hardware, the infrastructure, and also for the endpoints itself. So usually our typical customer, which is let's say below 2000 endpoints, or you know, in like lower range, they don't really need to do anything with their current infrastructure, because usually they have enough of space to run Safetica server, and at the same time fully utilize their current laptops or, you know, endpoints to have everything run smoothly. I think one of the biggest reasons that our solution is getting more and more popularity is that we're able to deliver the projects quite fast, especially in comparison with other DLPs. Now, you know, I don't want to say any harmful things about other DLP vendors. Like, I believe a lot of the DLP solutions on the market are quite great, but the difference really is when it comes to the right customer. And due to the fact that for a long time, or you know, since the beginning, we always focused on customers of SMB sector or SME, our solution is made so that it's very fast to implement. You don't really need some extra training for your users, because you know, we have features in Safetica that really make it simple for those people to work with files in a new way. Now, obviously, it's important to communicate with them that a certain change might be coming, but you know, our approach, our iterative approach, is during the project implementations important for the reason that the employee suddenly doesn't feel like he's struggling to use the data in a normal way that he was used to, and he finds out quite easily with our pop-ups of what would in fact be the right operation with the file. I'm sorry? Yeah, okay. So, and then there's high security expertise. So regards to why we think that we're better than competition, I'll just reiterate. So we're very easy to use and deploy. Our DLP has also strong auditing part. We primarily focus on the users, and you know, make sure that the users will, with the help of our product, won't leak any files whatsoever. Integration with other security solutions, I'll show you some, you know, choose list out of all. And what's very important is that we don't only focus on the data content, you know, but we have pretty great data context features. So if you deploying our product in your environment, it's actually pretty simple to have everything you expect with just, you know, kind of a few clicks in the settings. Here are the security stack vendors that we focus on primarily, but there's obviously more. So I already talked about Fortinet. We, you know, I believe all of you know ESET. I'm very happy to say that we're a gold partner with Microsoft since like some time ago. And, you know, then we focus on every other security vendor that you can imagine, to be sure that in the environment, everything will just work fine. And you won't feel like there is some issues with your internal processes because you have too many applications that aren't working well together. This is something that It's not the case with Safetica, and we always focused on it since the beginning. And finally, just to show you some awards and achievements that we got. So even though we're not in their Magic Quadrant because they're not updating it anymore, we are Gartner recognized, Forrester as well. We have achieved to be the part of the Radicati Group Magic Quadrant for DLP. We're also Fabric ready with Fortinet in their whole security portfolio, as Adam was sharing. And then in the bottom, you can see a few awards that we achieved in the past year. And we also signed Tech Accord, basically stating that we won't misuse any information from our customers in case that, let's say, FBI would approach us with such a request. And that's the end of our presentation. So thank you so much for the attention. And I hope that we'll have more business to discuss in the future.